Oh man, this could be a 5-hour podcast, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Just
That's what
buckle up.
Oh, I already know. But if anyone has a story or something they want to share,
It sounds like Joey has a story he'd like to share.
the last time I shared this story. You can cut this.
Clip it.
No!
hello and welcome back to another episode of a 0.5 episode of the Campfire Council podcast. Thank you for being here with us today on the council. We have Joey's,
Come on.
James,
Woo!
Noah, and myself, Luke. What is going on, gentlemen? I know we recorded not
just
so long
hanging
ago,
around.
but hanging around.
Yep.
Yep, talking about ice cream.
Oh
Free
yeah,
ice cream.
Yep.
free ice cream. Yep. Favorite part of that summertime period.
What
Where
free
do you?
ice cream?
Yeah, where do you get?
I
Free
got a
ice cream?
drumstick at work today from this.
He got a
sweet old
drumstick,
lady.
which then prompted me because our electrical supplier, Hein Electric, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, they in all of their locations they have a freezer that they stock with ice cream.
Dude.
It's free for all
What's
their.
what's
like,
the goated ice cream treat? What do you guys think?
My favorite is the strawberry shortcakes, the one with the little crumble.
James.
I love those.
How
Those
dare
are
you
my
even
favorite.
bring that up?
Oh, I love them
Those
so
are
much.
so good.
I've never had those.
Oh my gosh.
Get
My
me
mom
one.
and I were just talking about
Let's
that
go pick
actually.
it safe.
Oh, dude,
Yep.
we can go after this.
That
They'll be
sounds so
close to
good.
it.
I love those so
I
much.
just I always love shakes, so malts.
Yes,
Malts.
Luke's a malt guy.
Yeah,
They're
I
good.
mean, what about like ice cream that you get like from like in a box, like whether
Yeah, like a
it's
treat.
Yeah, like
a
a
sandwich.
drumstick, a
Oh
sandwich, a
yeah,
cookie bar.
probably like
What would you do for a Klondike bar? Tell me.
a lot of things.
You don't want to know.
probably I don't know, like the ones that you get are pretty good too, like just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not like picky,
Yeah.
but I won't really go out and buy them.
I have a Yasso
Me neither, which
in
is
the
why when
fridge.
they're free, I'm like,
Yeah, those
protein.
are good. Yeah.
Protein ice cream.
Yeah,
It's
I
actually
like
frozen yogurt.
drumsticks.
Those
Yeah.
drumsticks are
Yeah.
good.
hey,
The little bottom piece.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
you know
Oh,
they
with the
make,
chocolates off the bottom.
Yes.
Yes.
but it's not the same because
No.
there's something about working for that bottom piece.
That's what it
like,
is.
It's not the same if you just buy the little.
It's not work though. It's pleasure.
Oh, 100%,
You know, it's
yeah.
like,
It's like
there's no
it's fun work.
That's true. It's fun work.
Yeah.
Speaking of problems,
Nice.
Which we
When
weren't
you can't-
talking about.
when you can't get ice cream and it's a huge problem,
What do you
how
do?
do we deal with it? But
Oh.
today we are going to be talking about what does it look like in our lives when problems, issues arise, big or small, however it might be. How do we, as humans, but also like how do we as Christians navigate that? What does Jesus say about that, and what does the Bible teach us about how we should approach these problems, deal with it, and go about it with our lives? So, I think I'm going to start. I have a couple of verses here, and then Joey's remind me you have a question.
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
we
I'm
can
just pulling
answer.
that up.
Do we want to start with that question? Or do we want to start with some scripture?
Let's do a question.
Ooh,
All right.
Let's do
Hot
question.
take.
Yeah.
That was a good question.
Let me just get there. Bear with me.
Yeah, anytime.
Is the question related to scripture?
Do you
No.
think a lot of problems that we deal with? Here, let me start over. The wording was weird. Do you think a lot of problems that we deal with daily are mind over matter? My mind can take little issues and portray them to be so much worse sometimes. So, do you guys think that? Like
It's all on your mindset, kind of.
Like
kinda what I'm getting
so you have an issue, a problem, but your mind makes it a bigger problem than what it actually is.
Yeah, just like how a little issue can just explode into be like a bigger issue.
Yeah. I think part of that's just with anxiety. Like if you have anxiety heightens everything.
Sure. And I
Like-
think everyone has a little bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
You want to probably pull your mic a little bit.
I didn't want
There we
to.
go.
I really,
I
wanna hear your
really
voice.
didn't want to.
I'd tilt it down a little bit.
I'm
towards-
not going to.
There we go.
He's all confused.
I'm
'cause
not
he's on
doing it
that
for
couch.
you. I am, dude.
He's
This is
lost.
not.
Musical chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not normal.
I would say for that, I'd go back even to a couple episodes ago about like our thoughts and our feelings.
Yeah.
Right. So like what we talked about, I think it's titled like "Don't Trust Your Thoughts." So if you haven't seen it, for anyone listening or watching, go back and watch it. It's a couple episodes ago. I know Joyce and I were talking about just like when thoughts come into our head, are we going to trust our thoughts? Are we going to trust our feelings? Or are we going to go to the Word of God and see what the Bible and Scripture says about it? So I'd say a lot of times when we have something come into our head, for me at least, it's easy to like think about a problem and it rolls into something else.
Yeah.
It rolls into something else. So I would say for that, like, instead of giving it time to grow into something more, I would go to God, pray about it, go into Scripture, be in community, instead of worrying about it to where it just it explodes.
That's kind of what I was gonna say. It's just like try to nip it in the butt right away so that it doesn't steamroll into more problems, because I'm sure in all of our lives we've seen that, where it's like starts off as this little thing but it snowballs, and like you might as well just get that little snowball first out of the way before it becomes this huge avalanche of problems, and then you're trapped in their snow and then you die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is how it exactly works.
This actually leads very well into
in a tree well. I'll just throw that in there. No context.
Love that.
This leads into a verse I have, Matthew 11:28-30. It says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. My yoke is easy and my burden is light." So even like a clip I made with Joyce and I talking about, like, I gave an example of grocery bags. When we had things come into our life, problems, issues, I picture as like a grocery bag. Like we want to make one trip. We want to hold as many as we can. And when something comes in our life, something arises, and we want to take control of that, we grip that grocery bag.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing comes along. And before we know it, our hands are full. And when we fall, we cannot catch ourselves. So like Matthew's saying, come to me, all who are burdened and weary. It's like, if you have a burden, if you have something going on, Christ is like, bring it to me. My yoke is light and easy. Like I can take this issue from you. You obviously cannot handle everything on your own. And we can resolve this, and you can have your hands free to catch yourself.
What would you say to someone that's like not a Christ follower though? That like they don't have that relationship with God right now. Like, what would you say to them?
I mean, that's tough because I mean, on the viewpoint of someone who doesn't believe, I would still say it's trying to white knuckle and do it yourself isn't the smartest thing. I think being in community is huge. I think asking for help, or instead of stressing or worrying about it, take the necessary action and steps, or be humble and ask for help when you need to.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it could turn into something more.
You'll die in an avalanche.
You'll die in an avalanche.
Yeah. No one wants to do that.
James survived an avalanche once. James, you want to tell the viewers and
I
how
did.
that went?
Yep.
How'd that go?
Wait, did you actually?
Yeah, he was skiing in where?
It
Idaho?
was snowboarding.
Snowboarding.
Wait, hold on. We need to hear this.
It
For
wasn't.
real?
It wasn't Idaho. It was. I believe we were in Colorado somewhere, and we just got done snowboarding, and we had like kind of hiked up part of it, and
Wait, are you being serious?
yeah, and we had hiked up part of the mountain,
I made all of that up.
Oh,
and so we were
You were
hiking back
joking? I
down to
was
where
joking.
like you park your cars, because like you have to hike up part of it, and then the ski lift takes you the rest of the
What?
way, and like we didn't know, because there was also a back way to get down, and like that's where most people went, because no one wants to carry their snowboards, but we were like, let's hike because it's beautiful, and we were traveling, and so we were on the other side where like no one really parked to like go to the snowboarding area, and so we didn't know that there was like an evacuation thing, and so like we got in the car, started driving, and like look behind us, and it's just like barreling towards us, and we're like,
Holy.
because like no one was there, because everyone had already left, and like properly escaped. We weren't paying attention at all, and so we got in our car, started driving. It was terrifying, because like we were literally like going down, and we're like, must go faster, and I made all of that up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to like,
dude, I was so into this.
I was like, hold on, is this actually? He just asked, like, yeah, that would be a crazy story though.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're welcome.
That
Any
w-
other questions?
Improv.
Dude, that was.
Improv.
I am amazed right now.
That was good on the
Wow.
spot. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. But
It's like,
to
what are you
answer your
doing?
question,
What are you doing? You just went with it.
I was rolling
Eric.
with it. Yeah.
Always say yes.
I think that the question was, how does someone deal with like,
A small issue before it becomes a huge issue.
I would say like 9 times out of 10, things that we are like worried about are not as big of a deal in the end, like looking back, as we thought they were.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear in the unknown, and when you're dealing with something, you have no idea what the outcome is going to be, and so there's a lot of fear. And the more that time that you have to fester with and think about it, the more that it's just gonna like build in your mind of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's gonna be terrible, and then it usually is not. And
More often
so
than not.
I think stepping back and just like being like, okay, letting go and thinking whatever's gonna be is gonna be, and then just handling that to the best of your ability. If looking at it from a non Christian perspective, you really just can't, because the more you focus on it, the worse it's just gonna get in your head.
Really quick off that, talking about fear, that also ties very nicely into this next verse I have, which is going to be Isaiah 41, chapter 41, verse 10.
You-
So it says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And like that's again from biblical, a Christian viewpoint. And I'm trying to think of ways again that like, if you don't believe or follow Christ, well, first my advice is I'd tap into that. I'd really tap into that, because it's like this huge unlock of, we have these problems that every person deals with, right? Whether it's big or small, day-to-day stuff, or things that really get to us and break us down. But it's like, if you can tap into the Word of God and understand that God can take these, He can help you to handle these problems, whereas we go about our life like doing it on our own. And it's just so much nicer that we know that there's someone, an all-powerful God, who's like, hey, bring your burdens to me and I can help you with this. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be a lot easier than doing it on your own.
Right. Well, and attacking at it as well, of like the anxiety portion, you have 1 Peter 5:7, which is cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Like, it's such a hard thing to really like remind yourself of like, oh, cast all my anxiety on him. Like, doesn't mean it's always going to take away your anxiety, but I'm casting it onto him of like, all right, I know you can handle
The
everything.
trust.
Yeah. And so like, one interesting part of it is like because he cares for you. Do it because he cares for you. And like, that's such a sobering thought too, right? That you like you were saying about white knuckling it through life. It's like we have God in our corner.
Yeah.
And like, he does care for you. And some of our listeners out there, or viewers, you may be going through a really hard time, and it's frustrating. And sometimes it feels like certain people that you want to be in your corner aren't in your corner, or it feels like there's nobody in your corner at all. And what I can say, because of personal experience as well, is like, Jesus is right there beside you, whether you feel him or not. And like, to know that he's there and believing that he's there, two different things. But like, to know, just to remind yourself and to know cognitively that he is there, allows you to be a little bit more open and be vulnerable with God and be like, I can't do this on my own. I need to cast my anxiety, the things that I'm worrying about, onto you rather than trying to deal with it myself.
Yeah, I like that, because like,
It's huge.
you just got to be brutally honest with God, because he already knows our hearts. And it's like, he knows exactly what we're thinking. He knows what we're going. He knows our future. He knows our past. He knows everything about us. And just being brutally honest with him, I feel that's when you're really like freeing up those problems. You're allowing him to come into your life and for him to work through those problems.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not
definitely
easy.
not easy, but
At all.
So, does
hey.
anyone have an example or a story they want to share where
Yeah, James.
Let me
James
tell you
got
about the
stories.
time I survived an avalanche.
maybe there was a case or scenario where a problem arose, you first trusted God, what the outcome was, or if there's a time when you did not trust God at first, and like what the outcome was for that. Oh, I already know. But if anyone has a story or something they want to share.
It sounds like Joey has a story he'd like to share.
The last time I shared this story, you can cut this.
Clip it.
No.
Yeah.
We love that person, by the way.
Is there is an example of a time when you did not trust God, and then what was the outcome from that? Or was there a time when you did trust God with a problem, an issue, and then what was the outcome from that?
I feel like there's just so many examples that come to my mind, but it's like I don't know like which one to pick.
Right. And I can't even really think of major things.
Doesn't have to be major.
Well, I think one thing that's an ongoing thing is trusting God in pursuing school and pursuing pastoring. I think that's a consistent thing of trusting in God on moving out of something that I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life, which was work and be in the trades, and now I've completely switched that, and I didn't want to do that. I felt like I was being called into something different, and so that's why I'm in school, pursuing pastoring, pursuing the opportunity to lead others to Christ and lead others in their followership of Christ. And so I think that's just a continuous trust in and through the schooling process. Just in every part of life that I'm a part of, I guess.
Yeah. So how do you guys typically then with a situation like now, how do you guys typically deal with a problem or issue right now?
Sweep it under the rug.
Nice.
Run from the avalanche.
Yes.
Yes.
Ski down that hill, snowboard down that hill as fast as you can.
Hey, as Thanos says though,
As Thanos
dread it,
says.
run from it, destiny arrives all the same. So
Ooh.
there you go.
Nice.
Wise words from Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Not the greatest guy, but
What matters?
I mean, there's a little bit of truth to what I said, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I definitely do that, but working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying.
Why do we always want to sweep something underneath the rug or run from it?
It's easier.
Scary.
Yep.
What?
It's easier.
It's easier. It's scary.
Yeah, I was gonna say fear.
Fear.
Mm.
All the above.
Yeah, uncomfortability.
Yeah.
That's a big one too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You don't-
sometimes facing these things is not very comfy. And so it's easier to just be like, well, we're just going to save that for future James.
Yep.
But then future James has to deal with it. And we're like, gosh, dang it, past James.
Why?
We have this ultimate battle with the past and future.
Yeah.
James.
It's just like,
Right.
why did we do this to me?
I don't know.
Because it was easier, It's
Yeah.
the path of least resistance.
Yeah, I mean, there's, people don't want to do ice baths, in the morning, but they do it because they know it's through that struggle, of all the benefits. But getting into that ice bath is you're hitting it head on, you're just getting into it right away, and you're facing it. How that relates, not too sure.
It's a good
That's
example.
a good example.
All right, cool.
Because it might hurt or it's uncomfortable, but we know it's good for us, but it's so easy to avoid.
Oh yeah.
And almost always change and growth is uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how does steel become stronger? By it being put through pressure, fire, and then tempering.
Mhm.
There's multiple different things that the steel has to endure until it's fully hardened. And yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I almost like
I don't
even
like
wanna,
pressure.
I don't even like want to answer this because I want to like restrict and I don't want to be vulnerable. And like,
Well,
you know what I'm
sounds
saying?
like you're gonna have to be vulnerable with me.
you know what I mean though. It's like I just right now I don't feel like doing like that. Sounds like the last thing I want to do right now. It's just like talk about the same 4 different things that are going on in my life that you guys have all heard a million times. But I know that is good to do.
I'll listen
I could
to it a
say
million
the
more
same
times.
thing right back
There's an
at
ant crawling on our wall.
Kill it
Kill it now.
or let it go.
He's just an
Do
ant.
it.
He's kind of
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
might be on a
our
mission.
first ant guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
what's his
Huh.
name?
Leroy.
Anthony.
Dude, that's actually Ant-Man.
Nice.
Anthony.
Here's the
Man.
thing, though. You could be dealing with these same things 40 years from now, and I'll still listen to them as if
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the first time you're telling me.
That is true.
I'll be like,
Sure, appreciate
what? You're doing what? Like,
Yeah.
Joey's
dude,
doing.
Okay. Literally would always be there and always listen to you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And one thing too to realize is it's not just there might be a new listener or a viewer on listening to this episode that may be something that you're sharing, even though you might have shared it multiple times in podcast episodes before. Like maybe that specific time that person needed to hear it. So it's like the power of even continuing to say things and speak into it can still affect other people in a good way.
Sure.
But
I don't know. I guess that's something I'm struggling with vulnerability right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
and we can
Just feel-
we can kind of switch gears here a little bit. I was gonna ask, like, so why do we believe, or what do we think about why God allows certain things, and not like the problem of evil. I don't want to let we
Sure.
can kind of say it for
Get in
another
the weeds
question
on that one.
But
Noah.
why do we
Uh-huh.
think? Is there a specific reason why God might allow certain problems to arise in our life, whether it's big or small? Like, do we think it's punishment? Do we think it's a test? Do we think that God wants us to be equipped with something or learn something? What are you guys' thoughts on, hey, this problem arose, it sucks, I don't like it, and why do we think God allowed that to happen? And we'll say like the problem of evil for some, like, another conversation, because that's a deep dive. But
Oh man, this could be a 5-hour podcast, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Just
That's what
buckle up.
That's what I was trying to say.
Here's my thing. I've really been leaning into the idea of total depravity, which is what it's the idea that once sin entered the world, the entire world was broken. So bad things happen just because that's the world. Like I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. God doesn't want the bad things to happen. He doesn't want those things. He doesn't want bad things to happen to us. He wants only good things. But sometimes the things that we can see as bad that are happening to us, God is going to use them for good.
Yeah.
Like, look at Satan. Satan consistently will try to tear people down, especially Christians, and try to throw things at us. Story of Job. Like, God allowed for Satan to destroy basically Job's life, and God was still the victor in that, and Job was still able to work through that. And I know that's a very hard thing to compare to, and it's hyperbolic in a lot of ways, and it's symbolic and metaphorical and allegorical, all the ols.
big words.
And but I think like that's just it. Like God doesn't want bad things to happen to us, but we can still choose when those bad things happen. We can choose what is the outcome. So in a sense, and what I'm getting at is like how we work through that bad thing. We can choose to accept, oh man, that bad thing happened. Well, life sucks. Life's just the worst. I'm the worst. Depression, everything. Like, it's just...
What did you say the other day?
Oh, dude, you guys definitely don't want to order up a depresso espresso. Okay, like that's not a good time.
You're a silly guy.
Like, it's just like you can choose to either be a pessimist, and when bad things happen and come your way, you can think, well, God's obviously terrible for allowing this to happen to me, or you can see how the world is entirely broken and bad things are going to happen regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can choose to glorify God in and through that and work through that and push through the bad. It's not God's fault that you're going through hard stuff. It's not his fault.
That's a world of darkness too. I
Yeah.
know, like I've said it before, choosing to believe that God did that to you or whatever the scenario, like that's where all of that hate festered, that
Yes.
anger festered, and that's where the devil really does his work there. Is when you're low and he's like, okay, you're wrestling with this question of why, or like, why would God let this happen? And that's where he just attacks.
And I hope I accurately somewhat answered that question, but if I didn't, oh well, I'm sorry.
No, I think you did a great job of explaining that. And I 100% agree. When the downfall happened, sin entered the world. Once again, this is getting more towards like the problem of evil, and we'll save that for another conversation. But
Right.
what I kind of want to bring up is when things do happen to us, let's not have the question of like, why God is this happening, but what do you want me to learn, or what needs to change in the situation? So question like I have, and I've been hearing this in sermons and podcasts and stuff, and I've been really thinking about this, is like, right, when a bad situation happens, Satan, what the devil is like, exactly what he wants is they're in the lowest part of their life, they're down, they're upset at God. That's exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
And like you said before, God will use bad for his glory. And if we can take a terrible situation, big or small, and we can understand like, okay, I do not like this, we're not going to enjoy suffering in any kind of way as humans, but it's like, okay, the situation is here. Maybe not asking God like all the time to please take this away. Like that's fine to ask for, but it's also like, stop and think, what does God want to change in my situation? Like, what does God want to change about me in the situation? Because a lot of times if something happens and we pray to God and he answers our prayer and he resolves it, that'd be great, right? Well, that's sweet. And then anytime something happened, we'd pray again, he'd resolve it. Great. What have we learned through those struggles? Probably nothing. We've learned that, oh, God's a magic genie in my pocket. But it's like
piece of candy.
That's like I've been trying to focus on, instead of praying like, Lord, take this thing away from me. It's like, Lord, what do you need to work on me in this situation so that when it does get resolved, I've learned how to be more patient with people, or I've learned how to love people better, or I've learned how to trust people more. And it's like we can try to resolve these things on our own, which we eventually probably can. But it's like, did we learn what God wants us to learn in those moments that was really difficult? So,
well, and I think that couples really, really well with Matthew 6, verse 25 through the end of Matthew chapter 6, where it's talking about do not worry. And a big part of it is like, do you not see that, the Father cares for the birds and he cares for, the flowers of the field? How much more will he care about you, essentially? And that paired with how Jesus, even in the Garden of Gethsemane, before he went to the cross, asked God to take this cup away from him. But he says, but not my will, but yours be done. And that like kind of goes at what you're saying is like, can I learn through this? Like, allow me to see what you want me to learn from this. But like, it's also good to remind ourselves, like, it's not a bad thing to ask God to take something away.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Well, and I know that's what you're saying too, of like, but even Jesus was like, and I think this is such a good point, is like, but not my will, yours be done. So how is God going to be glorified in and through the struggle?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that that mindset to get into that is really hard though.
Yes.
You know, like looking back, like it was nowhere even close to that. Like there was no way I was thinking, oh, God's just gonna show me a lesson through this. No, I was like, no, screw you, God. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. You know, like why did you allow this to happen? Like I don't see this. And so for you to get to that point, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort into your faith, because the closer you get with Jesus, you know, the more he's going to be able to show you and maybe help you guide you to that mindset. You know, now going forward, having been a little bit more experienced, not saying that I have a ton of experience, but just being 27 and all, but going through, I know, right? Legendary. Going through those things, it, what's the word? I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, sorry.
Well, maybe
That's okay.
we'll find
I'm
that train
sorry.
along the way.
Shit.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was gonna say, if your thought comes back, let me
No,
know.
I have no idea. James knows.
Yeah, just like well, has there ever been a time, like, when do we, and I'm pretty sure we all know the answer, like, when do we grow the most, right? So when, I mentioned this in a Bible study or at, I think, our last podcast, I was like, I get kind of nervous when things are going too perfect.
Novice?
Like, what do you think about, like, if life is coasting and, like, things are great and there's, like, nothing going on, I'm like, I know how life works and something is going, it's probably not smart to think like that, but I understand something probably soon enough is going to happen that I don't like.
Like it's just around the corner.
Yeah.
Like it's only a matter of time.
Correct. But here's the thing though, like when we're coasting, life is good. Sure, we're praising God. We're doing these things, but like, are we challenging ourselves to grow, to learn, to practice things compared to when we are forced, when we are in those valleys, that we're like, okay, I have to figure this out. I need to trust God. I need to be patient in the situation. And it's like, God did, this is the funny thing. God did all the work for us. And we don't need to rely on works for our salvation, which is a beautiful thing, because sorry folks to break to you, we wouldn't make it. Like we would not, we would not make it. But God's like, all I want is you. But now when you follow me and you choose this lifestyle, you need to become more like me. And it's not based off of works, but you do need to show your fruit that you do love me. And like, we got to put in some work though. We need to show effort, and it does require being uncomfortable. It does require going through difficulties, and it requires sacrifice, and sometimes it's going to hurt. So
one thing I kind of wanted to touch on was when you were saying, like, when things are going too good and you feel like something is just around the corner, do you think that there's maybe a way where when you're thinking like that, you could swing it to then be like, well, then I need to enjoy the present more?
Correct. Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there as actually like a question. Like, is there a way?
No, and I do my best to enjoy the good moments, and we have to learn how to feel the bad moments in order to feel the good moments.
Yeah.
We don't want to like numb ourselves to that stuff, but no, I do. I've been really working on just like enjoying like the little good things that I get here and there.
I enjoy getting a free pink slush Alani from Carlin, who was on the last
Shout out
episode.
Carlin. Go check out the last episode.
Yep. First time actually really meeting her, and she just goes, here's an energy drink. I'm like, wow,
that'll change your day right there. An energy drink
made my day. Yeah.
Heck yeah. I do have one more verse here I want to go over. So Philippians 4:6-7, it's another popular one. I know we were talking about kind of like being anxious and nervous about things, but it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God.
Thanks, Paul. Gosh. Yep, that easy.
Yeah.
It's Paul.
It's very difficult. I mean, I can say with certainty I do not always bring my requests and prayer,
Yeah.
situations to God right away.
What if we did?
Well,
That'd be an achievement unlocked.
yeah.
Holy cow! I can hear the Xbox. Clunk. Yeah. Joseph brought his prayers to the Lord right away, first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we definitely make it more difficult for ourselves.
Yeah, we do. Why do we do that?
Well,
Because we're dumb, stupid, dumb idiots.
Are we idiots?
Yeah,
Oh,
we have
it's
monkey brains.
Double
and-
confirmed on the idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other advice or things that help you that you might want to share with the listeners that, well, it's just a life lesson or just something biblical that has been helping you guys with when an issue or problem arises, or something you'd like to work on more?
I would just say one quick thing. It's not the end. It's not the end. The end is being able to see Christ in his full glory and to be with him, and to be perfect in his presence. That's the end. And that gets me through the majority of things.
Yeah.
So.
That is encouraging, knowing it's not the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one thing to remember is God always loves you, even in the darkest of times and at the best of times. God has, does, and will always love you, which is a very beautiful thing. Even though people may come and go, relationships might end, jobs might end, whatever it might be. This world only offers temporary things. Christ offers eternity with him and a promise that we will be with him if we accept who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
Well, any other advice or something you guys are working through?
They're on their own.
Every man for himself.
Yes.
No.
Survival of the fittest.
Yep.
No, getting community, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
I think that's very important because you're not on your own, and especially when you get to have those nice conversations in the kitchen there with Noah, just pouring your heart out, and like if you weren't around us during that time, you obviously really needed people to talk to, so we were there for you, and that's what good community does, is there to listen, and as if you want advice, we'll give advice. If you just want us to listen, that's what we'll do.
Right back at you.
Yep. Yeah, buddy.
Okay.
We
What are you doing tomorrow night?
Probably getting Indian food with a kid named Joey.
Oh, very specific.
I also just had a comment from a listener too that just said, as like a just something to encourage us, says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
I know who said that. It's my mother.
Shout out Amy.
She says that all the time. That's how I know.
It's such a good reminder though. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can take time to listen with the ears that we have, to shut our mouths, and that's going to help us to not get angry right away, which for me, like, it can change a situation. If you are calm and collected compared to if you take things out of proportion and you're angry, it can be stubbing your toe into like the worst day of your life compared to like, just like taking a deep breath and being patient with it. So nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good spot to
Nice.
wrap it up. We're pushing like 40 minutes.
Oh, dang. That was fast.
I know, time flies.
That was like
Time
20 minutes.
Dude, that literally
it's a
felt
40.
like 15 minutes.
It's been 4 minutes.
Guys, we
Luke
forgot
did
to hit
not-
record.
Goodness.
Yeah, last episode we went like 12 minutes, and then Joey's with the. I don't know why I didn't look. The laptop was right there. At least it was only 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was only 2 minutes.
And so then we had to do a nice restart, and we got the full episode though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you for tuning in to listen to us. Just remember to trust God. I know it's not the easiest thing to hear. Stay in the Word. That's huge. Trust in Him. He has a plan for you. He loves you. He cares about you. He wants the best for you. And just remember, when you're on that high mountaintop, when life is like going really well, it's going perfect, enjoy those moments. God can bless us all the time with things, but still be diligent to want to learn, want to grow, want to follow up to Christ. But when we're in those valleys, if you could change that mindset of asking God why and being angry and hardening your heart, ask God how He can change you, what He wants to teach you, what you can learn through those difficult things. So when you come out of that, you can have learned something like patience, love, trust, wisdom. All these things that God can equip you with, that's going to help you in the future, help you as an individual, help you as a Christ follower. So hopefully you guys can take something away from that. Thank you for listening. God bless you. And remember, as always, to like, comment, and subscribe, and share. This is the Campfire Council Podcast.
Please comment.
What would you like people to comment on?
I don't know, anything.